Welcome, pilots! Cosmos Cramer is once again in his scouting Atron, ready to explore what may be the most farmed static Cosmos site in high-security space. The Skeleton Comet, a comet that was picked clean during the early stages of Federation space exploration, is one of the many landmarks in Algintal that makes the constellation known as one of the most beautiful places in the whole Federation. While not as spectacular as its more renowned cousin, the Canyon of Rust, the Skeleton Comet still attracted tourists from all over. But in recent years, the smuggling cartels operating in the constellation have made the place their own. Driven from their other pirate havens by activists, or more recently foreign corporations, they have convened here to make the Skeleton Comet their last great bastion of smuggling activity in the constellation. Needless to say, the only tourists now visiting the place are those in search of smuggled goods or illicit affairs. Yet the Skeleton Comet holds one little-known secret unlocked by those early miners. While drilling in a remote corner of the complex, they found ancient relics and definite signs that humans had tread here before, thousands of years earlier. Only recently, this startling evidence was analyzed further to corroborate what had until then only existed as rumors whispered in shady mining bars around the Federation. A fascinating story of early settlers in the world of Eve was uncovered. A nation calling itself Yan Jung. But the intrusion of the smuggling cartels halted further archaeological diggings, though it is said that the smugglers themselves have been poking around in the old ruins. Some say fabulous discoveries have been made, but the smugglers keep silent on the subject. And we make our way into the first room. This is how you'll typically find the site, littered with wrecks of NPCs from player activity. In order to show you the actual spawns in this site, I'll be switching over to the test server whenever necessary. We see the massive Skeleton Comet ahead of us, with 2 acceleration gates and a number of structures in the distance guarded by Serpentis. Of the nearest Serpentis, there are a group of Serpentis Junkies near the House of Chillin' Out, and some ruffians and a knucklebuster hovering around 2 Scorched Containers. Way in the back is a station called the All You Desire Haven. We make our way around to the gate on the far side of the comet, to the drone-infested corridor. Here we land near a station surrounded by Serpentis. Way off to the left is a vast drone hive surrounded by rogue drones. Above the drone hive is an FON operation station guarded by Friends of Nature activists. We make our way to the acceleration gate on the other side of the Serpentis station. And it's locked, requiring us to destroy all hostile NPCs to continue. So we warp out, and then come back to the site to scout the second acceleration gate in the first room. This leads us to the Serpentis survey site. Here we see an array of hacking containers on 2 sides of the room, each guarded by Serpentis. Ahead is an acceleration gate to the ancient ruins, guarded by 5 cruisers. Keeping our distance, we make use of our cargo scanner to see what's inside all these caskets. The fiction and rumor caskets on the right-hand side of the room contain a variety of Serpentis faction materials. The most common seem to be current amplifiers and second-hand parts, as well as the Serpentis Plane Target Guider and Serpentis Basic Target Guider. A more rare item is the Threaded Waypoint Map. And the most common items in the Fact and Authentic caskets on the left side of the room are the internal bulkhead and heat depressor, as well as the Serpentis 3D Scanner Gamut and Serpentis Complex Target Guider. Taking a peek in some of the Surveyor wrecks, we find an item called the Smuggler Knot Lock. Heading to the acceleration gate, we see that it's locked, requiring the knot lock to activate the gate. So we head back for our long-range combat Brutix, looking for a fight. The Skeleton Comet are the skeletal remains of a comet picked clean by Gallente miners in the early days of the Federation. The remains of the mining equipment are long since gone, used as materials in the construction of the safety guardrails running through the comet to make navigation of tourist yachts easier. But the tourist activity has dwindled to almost nothing in recent years, due to the local smugglers using it as their main pirate haven in the constellation. After tagging all the NPCs, we first snipe the 5 frigates in Group 2. and we do the same with the 3 destroyers and single cruiser in Group 1. Looking to loot the frigate wrecks, we come in range of the cruiser in Group 3. More snipey snipes. The rest of the room is onto our shenanigans as we finally get in range to loot the frigate wrecks. In them, we find some stolen goods. The Scorched Containers we took note of just have some spoiled drugs. And with the room cleared, we can focus on the all-you-desire haven. Those Serpentis spawn back quick. The haven just has some random drugs. After clearing the respawned pirates, we make our way to the nearby acceleration gate. Drone-infested corridor. There are a lot of rogue drone nests in Algintal, and this is one of the biggest. The Federation built a watchtower here to protect tourists traveling between the Skeleton Comet and the Chasm. The rogue drones attacked and destroyed the watchtower several years ago, leading to the eventual evacuation of Federation forces from the complex. Serpentis smugglers moved into the vacuum and seemed to be coexisting peacefully, though nervously, beside the mammoth drone hive. After tagging all the NPCs, we head towards the drone hive to engage. In order to make our way through the acceleration gate, we're going to have to clear the entire room. The pirates here respawn, so we'll have to gain some knowledge of the respawn patterns if we want to progress. With the first handful of rogue drones out of the way, we focus on the drone hive itself. As it turns out, destroying the 2 drone hive structures prevents the rogue drones from groups B and C from respawning. And similar to the drones, destroying the FON operation station prevents the FON activists from respawning. After taking out all of the Friends of Nature ships, we burn in to engage the Serpentis. Noticing the 3 new drone perimeter guards, this was the point I realized that the perimeter guard and worker drones continued to respawn. Attempting to aggress all the remaining drones, I got myself in some trouble and had to warp out. Whoops! Re-entering the site, it started to become clear how one might clear the room solo. I moved around to aggress all the remaining drones without destroying them, and then engaged the rest of the Serpentis as I drew the drones in closer. Having lured the drones close to the gate and whittled away at their armor, I finally begin to destroy them. Hopefully we can get them all before any respawn. One by one, we've managed to take them all out while we hover near the gate into the next room. I'll return to this room later to see what sort of loot might drop. Remote Corelum Safe Haven. The chasm is a unique rock formation with some unusual gas clouds within. Some years ago, a Gallente company was planning to harvest the mineral-rich clouds and built a mining installation for that purpose. But the public outcry in spoiling this natural beauty made them give up the project. Shortly after the Gallenteans left, the Serpentis moved in and claimed the mining installation for their own. The Serpentis pirates are, however, not interested in mining the gas clouds, using the installation instead for their smuggling operation between Federation and Republic space. We see 2 small groups of Serpentis. The group on the left is guarding a runner's relay station, and joined by a pair of battleships, the group on the right are near a Serpentis command outpost. We'll start with Group 1 on the left, taking out the relay station first. After taking out the guards, we loot the relay station to find a conlink encoder-decoder. The remaining nearby structures drop nothing further. Now we can focus on Group 2. And with the room cleared of hostiles, we focus on the command outpost. It drops some Strike Force gear. After verifying that nothing further of interest drops from any wrecks, we warp out to ready ourselves for the hacking areas of the site. I've switched back to the main server, and have staged a second Brutix that we'll use to try our hands at the survey site. This fit focuses on close-range combat with blasters, and webfire to better track the frigates that will warp disrupt you. It has a strong armor tank with extreme thermal and kinetic resists. Switching into simulation mode, we see that the capacitor battery and rigs make us cap stable even with our full armor tank running. A Stratios would be a much better ship for an alpha character, with its analyzer bonus, but I wanted to show a cheaper alternative for newer players. We head back into the site to the next room. Serpentis Survey Site. The Federation miners that worked the Skeleton Comet decades ago found strange ruins and relics in this part of the complex. As none of it seemed to be of any value, they left it alone. Decades later, it was established that these ruins belonged to a nation now long gone called Yan Jung. They settled in this part of the galaxy when the Eve Gate still remained open, but are now long dead. The Serpentis smugglers drove all the excavators working for the University of Kale out when they took over the Skeleton Comet, and are now rummaging through the ruins trying to find anything of interest. The Serpentis built this survey site originally as a place for their excavators to work from, but since then it has become a full-fledged spy base for the whole constellation. Here the Serpentis gather all the data and intelligence they acquire throughout Algintal. From the survey site, one can reach the ancient ruins themselves, but the Serpentis smugglers have locked up the gate leading there. Perhaps one of the Serpentis Surveyors has one on him. We see the local farmers hard at work, making quite a mess of the Serpentis. Their presence will actually help keep the pirates off our backs, allowing us to freely hack the Caskets. I'll show a few hacks of the fiction and rumor Caskets on the right-hand side of the room before switching back to the test server. Here's the hacking minigame, where you reveal nodes on a grid until you reach the system core. There are firewall and antivirus nodes that sometimes appear to impede your progress. You can also find tools that help you. Take note of the two numbers on the bottom left of the hacking window. The number on the top is your virus coherence, and the number on the bottom is your virus strength. Coherence measures how much damage you can take before failing the hack. Strength measures how much damage you inflict on the various nodes. I tend to follow along the outskirts of the grid, heading in the general direction of the opposing corner. Keeping to the outer edge helps maintain multiple free pathways, as fewer nodes will be cut off when a firewall or antivirus node appears. After collecting some of the Serpentis goodies, we take on a few surveyors. One of them drops a smuggler knotlock, which we need to access the final room of this site. Just to show what this site can be like when you have to fight off the NPCs, I've temporarily switched back to the test server. We hack one of the Caskets, only to be tackled by the Serpentis icebreakers. The longer range provided by iron charges and the webifier help us take out the smaller frigates. With the tacklers out of the way, we can focus on the battleship. And now let's return to some hacking. After gathering from the caskets for a good 10 minutes, eventually the entire right side of the room has respawned and aggressed. Even with 88% thermal and kinetic resists, we see our tank come under heavy pressure. Pulling some range, we can restore our tank, but it puts our pursuit of hacking the caskets on hold. I deployed a mobile tractor unit, which has collected one of the smuggler knotlocks for us. For Omega pilots, I thought I would show the Ishtar fit I use on my main character that is capable of running the survey site solo. The Tech 2 data analyzer is extremely helpful for hacking the higher difficulty caskets. With its drone damage bonuses to light and heavy drones, we can take care of the pirates quite quickly. And with a cap-stable armor tank with 94% resists, we'll have no trouble handling the incoming damage. The local farmers make it difficult to illustrate how the tank can hold up solo, but I can at least show the higher difficulty hacks. The authentic caskets are the most difficult hacking containers you'll find in the game. You'll encounter virus suppressors, which reduce your virus strength until you clear them, as well as restoration nodes, which regenerate the coherence of other active nodes on the grid. Keeping multiple pathways open and using your tools wisely are the key to successfully hacking these containers. I've switched back to Cosmos Cramer on the main server in order to scout the final room of the site. With one of the locals taking care of the Serpentis, we head around the room to cargo scan the containers from a distance. The most common items in the ruined and broken monuments seem to be the Yan Jung glass scale and null shell. Occasionally they also contain the crystal cylinder and paradox box. And in the cracked and fractured crystals, we find the Yan Jung technology skill book, along with the vellum etch and info matrix. We head back again for our combat Brutix to try our hand at some archaeology. Ancient ruins. These ruins, belonging to the long extinct nation called Yan Jung, are thousands of years old. Though time has made its mark on them, the freezing temperatures of deep space has preserved it remarkably intact. The ruins were only recently discovered, and are still relatively untouched by scavengers and treasure hunters. But the local Serpentis are working hard to change all that, digging with fervor through the ruins looking for relics that can give them wealth or knowledge. With the locals keeping the pirates busy, we use our relic analyzer to hack a few canisters. Besides the type of loot that drops, the hacking minigame is the same as it was in the previous room. And now for a summary of the Skeleton Comet in Deltole. There are 5 rooms in total. The first room is where the Skeleton Comet itself resides. The Serpentis junkies drop some stolen goods, which are the likely target of a future Cosmos mission. Scorched Containers drop some spoiled drugs, which may also be involved in a future Cosmos mission. The furthest gate leads to the second room, the drone-infested corridor. I return back to the site later to find that an FON banner drops from the FON operation station. The drone perimeter guards and drone workers drop Aether Hive links and Neurobio links respectively. The third room, the remote Corelum safe haven, has 2 more points of interest. The runner's relay station drops a comlink encoder-decoder, and the Serpentis Command Outpost drops some Strike Force gear. The fourth room, the survey site, is where you'll find some of the hacking containers that drop the Serpentis materials needed for the storyline blueprints. The fifth room, the ancient ruins, also has hacking containers with some of the Yan Jung materials. I've set up a separate webpage detailing the types of Serpentis and Yan Jung materials you'll find in Algintal. Each named container has a pair of common items it will drop, with a small chance of dropping an item from the tier above or below it. There are 4 tiers of each type of hacking container, but 5 tiers of items. The 5th tier items are extremely rare, but they do drop from the higher tier containers from time to time. In the next video, we return to running the Gallente Cosmos mission chains. We'll first head to Flukel, where we have a choice between the agents at the Central Administration and Nilla Ellermere, who hangs out at the entry gate to the Roden Shipyard Outpost. Thank you for watching my Gallente Cosmos mission guide. If you enjoy my content, please let me know in the comments or by subscribing to my channel. The more I'm aware that people are watching, the more likely I'll be to make time to continue producing content. I've also begun creating a parody news series based on the Gallente Cosmos missions. It's called the Algintal Fake News Network. The first episode is loosely based on the events from the first Gallente mission chain from Part 4 of this series, titled Activist Fuel. Thanks again, and hope to see you back soon.